Hi guys, Blake here with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on beautiful Upper Lake Taneycomo. It is Monday, April the 13th of 2020, and this is the OneCast. Today I have boated up. I am just below Andy Williams' house in the eddy. It is quite a bit colder than it's been for the last few weeks. I think we're somewhere in the 40-degree range right now. Got almost to freezing last night. Had a kind of a pop-up storm. Well, not pop-up, but a thunderstorm roll through starting at around 7 last night. Lasted kind of off and on through the night. Turn the boat off there. So, yesterday I came in and I did a little fishing. From below our dock, I pulled the boat out and started drifting right as soon as I pulled out from the dock, down to a little bit past the Cooper Creek Flat. There's another row of personal docks after you go past Cooper Creek, and there's that flat there, and through there I caught an 18-inch brown, a 19-inch brown, and a 20-inch brown, dragging those little jerk baits that we sell up in the shop. And then I went up to the dam to see if I could catch some freshwater species, and didn't find any freshwater species, but I did find that if I drifted the very center from the cable down and fished towards the south bank with my 110+1 jerkbait, that I was actually catching the fish way out in the middle, and that jerkbait's a jerkbait that dives 7 to 9 foot deep, but I was catching them even close to the boat, right out in the middle, giving it a pretty aggressive action. So that was my fishing report from yesterday. Phil did pretty well up there using his white jig during the OneCast yesterday. Those are the only two. Actually, I talked to somebody else that was on the water yesterday, and they had been dragging power bait and were catching some fish, and they said they also caught like a 19-inch brown, dragging a white jig, and they were also fishing that area right there by Cooper Creek. So there was definitely some fish held up there yesterday. I caught some other, stalker sized rainbows through there from our dock down through Cooper Creek area. Sounds like they did too. And yesterday, out in the middle from the cable down to Trophy Run, on that jerkbait, I wound up catching probably 7 or 8 rainbows that were all in the 18 to 19 inch range. So really good day of fishing. Today I'm going to start off. I've got a few different rigs with me. I wanted to try some stuff out that I haven't tried lately. So this is a 1/4 ounce bell weight on a snap swivel connected to a barrel swivel connecting my leader. I've got a size 12 gray scud and a Cerise San Juan worm. These are two things I've been using my little jerk baits for dragging or throwing a big jerk bait, and I really haven't tried this. I know that these are things, the scud and that Cerise San Juan worm, are things that work pretty well when the floodwaters are running like this. So we're gonna give it a try. I guess I turned my camera to the wrong side. Let's get it back over here. And then I've got another rod rigged up, and it's got a double scud rig. And I'll try that one out probably, unless this one works really well. But on the double scud rig, I put a size 12 cream colored scud and a size 12 orange scud. For those of you that don't know about the orange scud, whenever they run floodwaters, a lot of the time it'll move the scuds out of their, the positions where they've been hiding in the grass and all that kind of stuff. Well, a lot of the time the water gets to moving so fast that it actually kills them. And when a scud dies, its exoskeleton turns orange. So the fish will target in on those dead scuds floating down the water. And so I've got a orange scud rigged up to imitate that, and we'll see if that works, if this doesn't. And then I've got one of the little 762 jerk baits in a shad flavor that we sell up in the shop. I've got one of those rigged up, and that's, for the last week and a half, that's really been my go-to rig, is that the same drift rig that you see here, except with one of those little jerk baits rigged on it. And I fished it anywhere from up by the cable all the way down to Monkey Island. That little 762 or the little 639, both the little shad flavors. I fished those from, like I said, from the cable all the way down to Monkey Island. I've been catching lots of brown trout and lots of other fish. And whenever something's working, it's hard to put it down and try something else. So I rigged up some of the stuff that I've been wanting to try lately. I had to break out the winter jacket again. I thought I was hopefully done with that for another year. But they're calling for lower temperatures in the highs of 40s and 50s for the next few days, and lows at night close to freezing every night. So looks like the winter jacket's not quite done yet. I think I may have chosen a weight that is just slightly too heavy here. That weight's getting hung up on the bottom quite a bit. I'm drifting this inside bend here, and the water does move a touch slower. And I've got a wind, I don't know, 5 to 7 miles an hour, blowing back upstream, slowing the boat down. So this 1/4 ounce weight's probably a little too much. I didn't bring any extra gear with me unless I got something in my pocket. Well, I do have a 3/16 ounce weight in my pocket. I know we've said it before, but the amount of weight that you're dragging is important. You really want it to kind of just bounce along the bottom, not drag. So I'm gonna change up my weight here. We'll see if 3/16 is just right or if it's too light. Also, something else to note, that this inside bend here, whenever they're running the floodwater, is sometimes a spot where the fish come to get out of the current a little bit. So always a good spot to try dragging or fishing anything whenever they're running floodwater. And that 3/16 ounce weight's bouncing a lot better. Whenever I'm dragging, especially the scuds or the San Juan worms, I like to every 10 seconds, 15 seconds, it doesn't have to be specific, but I like to lift up on the rod just a little bit and then let it sink back down. Like, ooh, there was a bite right there, and it kind of gives the baits a little action. Oh, there's another bite. Oh man. But I think it gives the baits a little more action, and I think you get a few more bites whenever you do that. Very overcast again today. I don't think we accumulated too much rain yesterday. There for about an hour it came down really heavy, maybe an inch, but I don't think it added up to anything past that. Oh, well, something definitely happened there. Got hung up for a second and I lost all feeling. Still have my baits, however, my snap swivel must have got hung up on something just right and tore it apart, and so it tore my weight off of that one. So we're gonna switch over to the double scud rig and give it a try for a second. Okay, so double scud rig, it's got the same setup here, about 6 foot a leader, snap swivel. This one I put another 1/4 ounce weight on, and then a cream colored scud, and there's the orange scud. And I don't think I have any more 3/16 ounce weight, so I'm gonna have to make do with this 1/4. Man, that wind has picked up speed a little bit and is really slowing my boat down. Another thing that would probably work would be an egg fly pattern, like an orange or a peach or a yellow. And if I was going to rig one of those up, I'd probably do it on a double rig with a scud behind it, just to kind of figure out what was working best. I do believe the other day when they were working on the dam and they opened the 5 floodgates at 3 foot apiece, that day when I was fishing, I caught a Kentucky bass, a smallmouth, 2 little tiny walleye, and then I caught some rainbows all on a jerkbait. Also, I saw about a 5-foot gar swim by the boat, and probably a 5-foot or so spoonbill swim right by my boat that day whenever the gates were open wide. So I have to imagine that along with those warm water species that some shad came through, probably. Right now I'm moving my rod tip a little bit extra because of the wind and because I don't have the proper size weight. So I'm kind of just picking that weight up off the bottom every few seconds, trying to keep a good drift going so that it's not dragging. That's another thing you can do. Or another thing I could do would be scoot out towards the middle of the lake and find a little bit faster water and see if that helps, since I don't have the proper weight. Just a few tricks. And I think I'm going to try scooting more towards the bluff where the water's faster. Also, we're coming up on the narrows, and see if there's any fish hiding in the narrows. I did manage to drag without getting any moss there. Dwayne went out fishing yesterday morning and he caught some nice brown trout. He was also throwing that 110+1 jerk bait. Alright, let's turn the camera again. So I boated over here closer to the bluff side to try to find some faster water and hopefully some fish. Under normal conditions with this much water running, a 1/4 ounce in most spots is usually the right amount of weight. But like I was saying, we were in the inside bend over there and the wind was blowing against the boat. So not too conducive for the weight that I plan to use today. But now that I'm out here in the faster water, the rig is drifting like it should now. Seeing a few trout jumping. When I pulled up in that eddy, I must have scared a few because like 3 jumped out of the water at the same time. I just saw one jump over there against the bank. There's a chance that once that storm front moved in last night, could have affected the fish a little bit. I'm gonna give this a second longer, and I'm gonna switch over to the little jerkbait drag rig. Oh, that might have been a bite. Reel this in, check it for moss real quick, and I think I'm gonna have to switch over to the jerkbait rig, see if we can catch a fish and get to see what one looks like today. Didn't have any moss. So, like I was saying, this is the same style drift rig with the snap swivel and the barrel swivel. Big difference here is the jerkbait. You only need 2 or 3 foot a leader, and you only really need about an 1/8 ounce weight, sometimes a 3/16 ounce, but the bill of the jerkbait actually kind of helps drive it to the bottom as the little weight pulls it to the bottom. So you don't need as much weight with a jerkbait. And there's a fish. Oh no! I didn't set the hook quite good enough on that one. Coming up on the front side of Eagle Island, got this nice little flat that runs off of this log here. There's Eddie, and so I'm gonna get right in on it. and we're gonna drift through this. Okay, so I'm right on the edge of that seam. I'm gonna let the boat get a little bit farther down, and I'm gonna cast right up behind that tree. There's a fish. I think that, you know, I think there's a lot, even minus the shell. Oh no, he got off. Oh man, I gotta figure out how to set the hook today. I think there's other types of bait fish coming through the dam as well, not just shad, but you know, baby schools of other fish. I was in the mouth of Fall Creek a few days ago, and there was a pretty big group of a few hundred fish swimming around, but they definitely weren't shad, and they were, you know, in the minnow stage. So there's definitely other groups coming over. And I think they're feeding on all of them. Well, I've had my chance twice, and I'm running out of time. And there's a third one. Let's see if I set the hook on this one good enough. Oh my gosh. Okay, he's still there. I thought I lost the third one in a row. There we go. That's what a fish looks like today. He's got a interesting little spot, orange spot right there by his gill plate. Oop. I didn't mean to do that. There you go, buddy. All right, we'll try one more cast before we call it a day. And drag it right past these, right off the front side of the island. There's a bunch of logs that lay out probably for 50, 60, 70 feet. And quite a few fish hang out right around the edges of those as well. Oh, there was another one. Well, looks like I should have been using this the whole time. But I did want to experiment and try the scuds and the San Juan worms. I know this has been working very well for the last week and a half with all these bait fish coming through. But I know that, you know, I talked to Steve Dickey and Ryan Milashowski, and they said some of the fish that they cleaned were just packed full of scuds. So I know they're eating scuds. I guess I just have to play around with it a little bit longer and get my drift right and get the area right. It might have been better if I came down here with the scuds. I'm not sure. There's another one. Well, if you're gonna get out to Taneycomo anytime soon, I recommend any little floating jerkbait on a drift rig. Anything that resembles a bait fish, because they are definitely hitting it. That's 4 or 5 fish that I've at least had hit or had on in the last 6 or 7 minutes. He's not hooked very well at all, but there's another one. He's got some real pretty spots. Ow. All right, guys. Well, I think I'll call it a day on that note. We thank you guys for watching. Like and share us on Facebook, and we will do it again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.